Cascade Blonde American Whiskey, here we go. Quite possibly the best American whiskey.
It does say that on the bottle. And only the best American whiskey comes in plastic bottles with plastic corks. So, you tasked me with coming up with a story time for Cascade Blonde.
Yes.
That was a big effort there.
I just think this whiskey's really cool, and I think it's probably because they say they're possibly the best whiskey, or probably the best whiskey.
That is the best thing about it, I think, is the tagline, probably the best whiskey in the world.
I dig their vibe for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely not taking themselves too seriously,
which is nice.
So I had to work a lot to find some sort of a story time. Usually you can go to like their websites, like Basil Hayden's easy. They got the whole story. It's like big branding. There's a whole lot of branding behind Cascade Blonde. I found some like sponsorship deals that they did with people on Instagram. They gave them like a tube that said Cascade Crush, and they put it on top of their Bronco. But like that's the most I could find out about this company, to be honest. So I was looking all over the internet. Christopher Knoll at drinkhacker.com had some information, but I don't know where he found it. Maybe they released information when they started this. And then on the Distiller app and website, I was able to find some more. So it's made by, I think it's Diageo.
Yep, Diageo.
So they make Crown Royal, Captain Morgan, Bailey's, Guinness, Don Julio, some big brands with big branding. And I think they're the ones who made this. And it's being bottled by Cascade Bottling Company in St. Genevieve, Missouri. I believe it's distilled at Cascade Hollow, where George Dickel's made, same distillery. And that's about all I could find on all of the background. There's a website on the bottle. Let's see, I've got the pint here. The website is cascadeblonde.com, and it does not exist.
For real?
For real.
I was so down for like a super awesome vibe from this company. Hey, if we're wrong, let us know. But
at least make up some stuff. All the other companies are anyway.
I thought for sure there'd be some fishing thing, especially with this ridiculous plastic bobber.
Yeah, you can.
By the way,
give you instructions to make a bobber
are like
out of this synthetic cork. All right, so.
Well, that kind of pisses me off. I was looking for something cool.
They wanted to make a lighter whiskey, hence why they called it a blonde, but there's no legal distinction here. Like, it just is describing the color. So a lot of whiskey companies will put things on the bottle that don't mean anything. Things like straight bourbon have a legal distinction, corn whiskey, wheat whiskey. They all have legal distinctions. This, we don't really know what's in it because it really just says American whiskey. So maybe there are some distinctions to that. But if I remember correctly, they can just add some stuff to it. So we don't really know what's in it. It is very young, so they haven't aged it very long. Yeah. American whiskey, it could be blended with things. It is double chill filtered, and that tends to remove a lot of character. A lot of bourbon brands, they don't want a chill filter. It does get rid of some solids, but those really only start to come out under, I think it's 86 proof, and this one is 80 proof, so it makes sense why they're double chill filtering it. But it makes it a little less complex. There are some companies, forgetting the name of the one that I looked at last night, where they purposefully do it because it accentuates some of the other flavors when they remove some of the flavor. But yeah, it's basically looked down upon in bourbon, but then things like Jack Daniel's, George Dickel, I believe they both chill filter. So just like a different philosophy. That is about what I've got for the story. Cheers. Let's get into the nose of this.
It smells like whiskey.
Yeah, a lot of ethanol.
Yeah.
Compared to what we've been drinking.
Am I going to be snobby about this?
No, maybe. We've gone over some really good bourbons that have amazing smells and flavors to them. So, I mean, it makes sense that the first distinction I got out of this was that ethanol. And the longer it sits, I mean, I sat with it for a bit last night when I was studying up. You get like some really faint vanilla, some honey. Is it flavoring? It could be flavoring because of how artificial it smells. But I almost get like a cream soda the longer you let it sit. If you want to taste it, we can come up with some notes there too. I mean, it's definitely not harsh.
No. No real bite to it at all.
I don't know if it tastes particularly well. By the end of I had a glass about this size last night. By the end, I didn't hate it, but you kind of get used to like what's going on in the glass, and slowly you can start to pick out a little more. But it is very simple. It's very light. But
I feel like this would be like two things. This is a whiskey that you will drink in a shot and mix with a Coke.
That's pretty much where I was going with this, yeah. It's got the vanilla, the cream, some sweet corn flavors, but the finish is kind of bitter, short, and metallic. But it's not meant to be drank out of a Glencairn. It comes in a plastic bottle. It's meant to be in your jacket, driving your boat down the river, going, hey, here you go. Who cares if half of it dumps out? Or you're tubing or kayaking down the river and you're throwing it back and forth, and then it all dumps out, and you go, oh, well. It's cheap. It's very serviceable for what it is. It would be good in Coke. I wrote down summer cookouts, river trips, fishing, any sort of situation where if it spilled or someone just took the rest of it, you're not going to be torn up by it.
No,
it's a great like party whiskey. And I think someone online mentioned that it's just a good alternative to like Fireball or Revelstoke or Old Smoky whiskey, all the flavored whiskeys, because it's not flavored with anything crazy, but it is very light and almost at most a vanilla tasting.
Yeah, nope, I get that for sure.
So I figured it would be really rude to just tear it apart in terms of how we'd been drinking whiskey out of our Glencairns and being snobby about it. So I'm going to go, they do have a recipe on their 5th size. It is whiskey, lemonade, and an orange wedge. So there's yours. I figured this is the way to do it. Out of a Wesco styrofoam cup like you would be if you're fishing on Lake Michigan.
Shout out to Wesco.
Shout out to Wesco and their crushed ice and styrofoam cups.
Oh, yeah. Did you already have some?
I had a taste, yeah.
Can't believe it. No, you can see that. It's got some good color to it.
Yeah.
How many shots you put in there?
Just one.
That's good.
It's really good. So yeah, I could picture you take a pitcher
Or
or a growler. Yeah, you dump a bunch of this and a bunch of lemonade and some orange juice into a big container, and you just keep pouring it into your Wesco cup.
We're so Michigan.
Just for the Manistee locals here. If you go down the boardwalk in the summer, just check out how many fishermen have got one of these in their hand. There's a reason.
Be giving it away. Giving it away.
Oh, this is super good.
This is a problem.
Whiskey and lemonade and a little bit of orange. Look at him. He didn't want to touch whiskey when we started. Now he's adding more.
It's delicious.
It's all about the crushed ice and that noise right there.
Cheers.
Have a good summer, guys.
Cheers.
Hopefully it warms up soon.